Mark Wiggins is about to come on and bring the heat. My gosh, this guy is inspirational. He is on fire. Get excited because it's going to be a great interview. Before we do that, let's dive into the sponsorship message. This is brought to you by the 21-Day Challenge. And if you're an entrepreneur, high achiever, you're feeling stuck, empty, you're not fulfilled, not being your greatest possible self, send me a message and we will find out what your big dream is, learn how to break it down into bite-sized steps, and hold you accountable for 21 days as you set out and become your GPS. That's the 21-Day Challenge. Message me, Chris at beyourgps.com, or find me on Facebook, Chris Burns, facebook.com/th3burns. All right, next up is the iTunes review of the week. And this week it is, I believe it's Queen Sawyer. Queen Sawyer says, love this podcast. Every single episode is filled with great advice, actions to take. I love it. Thank you so much, Queen. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store and find us there. Thanks so much in advance for doing that. All right, again, we're going to be bringing on Mark here in just a minute. Before that, though, make sure you grab a pen, grab a paper, grab something to take notes because he is going to bring the fire to be able to inspire you and transform you and to remind you that success does not need a cosigner. Success has no boundaries. Get off the bench and onto the field. So let's introduce him and then bring him on and start this fire party. All right, Mark Wiggins, coined by clients as an outstanding entrepreneur with the uncanny ability to ignite passion and to motivate others. Mark, the speaker man, Wiggins, is an accomplished author of several books, including Permission to Succeed. The only person who can give it to you, who can give it, is you. You can give you permission to succeed. You are the only one. And success does not need a cosigner. Mark is a certified facilitator of the Lego Serious Play Methodology, Master Presenter PSSP, and co-creator of the Journey to Success program and creator of the Off the Bench Speaker Training Program. Among his other achievements, Mark hosts a podcast called Off the Bench with Mark Wiggins. He is an international motivational speaker, trainer, facilitator, and coach with more than 25 years of experience in the corporate and communications industries. Mark is a driving force in helping youth, athletes, corporate organizations, and individuals move from the bench to the starting lineup in life. And we're blessed to have him here with us today. Mark, are you ready to rock this, brother?
Good gracious, I'm ready to go, Chris. What's happening, dude? What's happening?
Dude, oh my gosh, it is game time, bro. Speaking of game time, we're getting off the bench. We're getting in the game today, bro.
we about to make it go boom, Chris. About to make it go boom.
Yes. I love it, Mark. I love it. So let's dive right in, man. So
yes,
the theme of today is clarity equals power. Mark, how does that concept show up for you in your life, bro?
How does clarity equals power?
Yep.
It shows up for me if you aren't clear on where you're going, then you can't be sure how to engage your own power.
Right.
First of all, you might not even be clear that you even have power. You one of the X-Men, you have superpowers, but you aren't quite sure how to use them. It's not until they get trained by, at the university that these super mutants can actually use their powers because they have clarity on how to apply said powers when needed. So as it applies to motivation, as it applies to success, it really comes back to understanding what you have to do for you. What are you doing for you? Where you're trying to go? What's your message? What's your why? Yeah. When that becomes clear, then all of a sudden the passion and the power shows up.
Man, I love it. I love the X-Men analogy. I love where we're going already in this interview. It's going to be a blast, man. Love it, Mark. So tell us a little bit more about your speaking. I mentioned it in the intro and what you do for your clients, man.
Yeah, as far as speaking goes, I focus on, I like to boil it down to human performance. How to do what you do better. Everybody say better. All right, very good. So it's about that. I speak about training and motivation, and I tie sports into it. Sports is like my background. It's life. I don't think you can do anything in life without having some sports-related analogy or whatever. Right. And it's where I got my training. So it blends in. And what I find is that people can relate to that topic, even if they've never played sports, you've done something athletic in your life, and the mindset that comes with it, the mental mindset that is involved in trying to achieve any goal that you set forth. Whatever it is, it requires a mindset.
Yeah. So
I deal in that arena a lot. I do a lot of work with young people, young athletes. I work with Positive Coaching Alliance. been a speaker for them for about 8-9 years. And we talk to coaches, parents, and kids about new sports culture, changing the old culture to the new culture, and a better way for our kids to have fun while they're growing and doing better. So I love doing that and working with entrepreneurs, customer service training. So I do a lot of speaking in those markets and dealing with leadership training as well.
That's awesome, man. And tell us a little bit more about the old paradigm or old school or old way of doing things and the new way.
Well, the old way was you do what I say, don't ask no doggone questions. That was the old way. Are you going to catch this chair? You're going to catch this chair if you don't do it. And it was just basically the old military style of just do what I say do, don't ask any questions. There was no real creativity. It was systematic. It's this, it's this, it's this. Any variation or deviation got you in trouble.
Wow. Yelling,
screaming, it just didn't help kids. I mean, the psychologists were chiming in all over the place as far as development, growth, mindset, freedom. It actually stunted a lot of growth. It actually stunted a lot of kids and shifted them away from sports. There's a stat that says by the time kids are, 13, 14, a good 75% of them are dropping out of sports because they can't. You know, there's no more fun, and they're latchkey kids, and your parents have just absolutely killed it. So that's the old way. The new way really revolves around, it's still structure, it's still positive, and it's still challenging. And that's the part that I think the old school had wrong. Challenging meant coming in your face. And we all had, if you are of the age of 40-ish, you had this coach, right? They're yelling, they're screaming, and they're berating you in front. And that's supposed to make me feel good. Chris, that doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel like I don't want to do anything extra in life. And then that becomes my mindset later on in life. Like I can't do anything because this coach was berating me.
Yeah, or even that like there's this drive to achieve, but it can never be fulfilled because it's always like you have to be better, you have to do more. That's not good enough. Go more, be better, and it's like this constant drive and pressure, which causes people at the the end of their career or whatever it might be to get into addiction abuse and just not having a fulfilled life and just like being miserable.
I think one of the biggest things out of that is the conversation around winning and winners. If you didn't win, you wasn't about anything. So therefore, there was like just zero sum. It's win or nothing. But what we find now is that you can become a winner even in the losing situation because somebody has to lose. That's the way we play sports. But it doesn't mean that you're a complete failure in life. How did you do inside of that? Did you reach your own goals? Did you set your standards? Did you perform at your best? Did you give it your best? And control the controllables, your attitude and your effort. Anything less than that, then you didn't do your best. And so then out of that became the freedom and the ability for kids to now perform and enjoy growth and stick with it. So that's the newer culture. There's a lot of great people involved with it. And that's kind of what I speak to a lot of the times and with coaches, changing their mindsets about how to deal with these kids because you can still get the best out of them. How do we know this? Because some of the best NBA coaches in the world are involved with this. Bill Jackson, the guy at Boston, Doc Rivers. They're winners. They're proven winners. So there's something to it. So we shouldn't ignore it.
That's so powerful, man. I love it. And I know we're going to dive into more of that philosophy and talking about, success does not need a cosigner. Before we get into that, though, I want to go back into your journey, man. Talk about how you got to be this legend that you are today, speaking and training and empowering people. Like, how did you get here? What was that journey like? Where did it all begin for you?
Now, Chris, that's the question I ask. I always ask the question, how did you get here? Well, let me tell you, we got an hour, right? It may take a little bit of time to get this all out. Goodness gracious. It really all started back, speaking for me, started back in the church. That's a known fact. We've grown up in the church. We had Easter plays, Mother Day plays, Father Day. We always had to give resuscitation. And my mom and them were very stern in making sure that I had to get up. If you're going to get up, have something to say. Just don't get up and just So as I went to college and came back, the pastors wanted to hear from the young black male who went to college and was still in college coming home to be a role model. I know what I was talking about. I'm going to tell you what I could tell you about what I did in college. I'm going to tell you everything. I was telling you what I did do. And over time, it was, can you come talk to these kids? Can you talk to these kids? Can you inspire? I was like, I guess so. Let me just go ahead and just share what I'm doing. As time moved forward, I recognized that was actually one of the gifts that I possessed was to be able to get up and communicate. People who speak they're like the anomaly. We run towards the mic and the light, where people run the other direction. You throw a mic up, I'm like, which way? How far? How long do you need me to go? The other people are like, nah, I'm good. So moving forward, I started, had a franchise here locally. It was called Cookies by Design. And a teacher comes in and looks at the brag book, like, oh, all the stuff in your book about your business. And she said, can you come talk to my DECA class? And that was like the start of it. So I went and talked to the DECA class about business, small business loans, SBA, business plan, projections. I was so doggone bored when I walked out of there. I was like, God, if I'm going to talk to these kids and whoever, I need a message. And at that moment, it was kind of like, well, let's talk about not necessarily those things. Let's talk about what it takes to get to these things. A more broad message. Like, what do you personally need to do to go get your dreams and goals? So out of that became this message, and started speaking in all the high schools in the area and things like that. And the more and more I spoke, the more people got to know what I was talking about. And that's how it kind of morphed. And then I hit different stages and wrote books, wrote programs. I did a lot of things I never thought I would do as pertains to speaking, because there's so much more, as you know, than just the microphone. It's your knowledge, it's your passion, it's your connection to people. And that's kind of how I moved to this point where I am at this moment.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So how did you first get into corporate speaking? Because I know that's a big part for you as well.
The corporate speaking actually came out of the connects in the gym. A lot of the people I knew I played basketball and sports, and those guys will come in and talk to us about team. Sure. I talk about team. Because I was a business owner who would specialize in a very customer service driven industry where people place specific orders and you have to deliver them. They want to understand how customer service works. I spoke a lot early on about customer service.
That's awesome.
About teamwork and about leadership. So that's how I'm into the corporate space.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. And then fast forward, and you got a lot of different projects going on. You got your podcast, you got your books. Where did the desires to do these different projects and get your message out in different ways, different mediums? How did you know that it was time to do that?
That's the $1 million question. I think over time, sometimes if you're in your zone, in your space, I believe sometimes you're ahead of the game. If you're actively involved, if you're an early adapter, or you're curious, or you're looking for something edge or different. I was doing what Blog Talk Radio. There it is. When it was a beta. I guess it's still out there. I think my show's still out there, Crumbs of Wisdom. But I needed to get my voice out, and I couldn't travel, and there were some things going on personally. So I started recording early and just interviewing people. So podcasting wasn't podcasting, just like self-publishing wasn't the thing to do when my first book came out. You were self-publishing. You were a scourge of the earth. Oh, you self-published? Dear God. You got to get to Random House. Dude, you can't. It's not going to happen. Same thing with Blog Talk Radio and getting out early. So I got into those arenas where I could, get practice. And I tell my speaking clients, you got to get the reps. I don't care how you do it. Now it's videos and Instagram and whatever. Get the reps in. So for me, the speaking skill was acquired in those moments doing broadcast radios, interviewing, different stages, talking to high school. So that's kind of where I got in early on those things, and then started moving it to the next level and creating the content. The message I believe the message will mature as does the speaker. Totally. I'm still talking about the same stuff, by the way, but the message has matured. The content, the experience, the reach back has gotten a little bit deeper because of what I've been through. I mean, when you're over 35, like I am, you have different experiences. So now that's kind of where it is. And I just tie those things in and try to reach more people and get the technology involved, as you have done with your efforts here, to reach more people with less effort and still deliver the great same content.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Awesome. So you started your own podcast like way back when, right? And you were getting those reps in and practicing. And then you also have one now off the bench, right?
Yes, Off the Bench with Mark Wiggins. Me, your host, Mark Wiggins.
On
iTunes,
your boy.
Spotify. Find me, look me up, download my programs. That was a journey. I love to learn. Yeah. And a year ago, it'll be a year February-ish, because I had knee surgery. So that's a whole nother story. But while I was out, I was watching and learning and studying like you would anything else. I was listening to podcasts day after day while I was learning some things, and I began to sit down and record different things and working on my skill set so I could then drop content like everybody else was dropping. Yeah. That's how I get to Off the Bench. And Off the Bench Live is just an extension of my number one tag is get off the bench. The phrase is get off the bench and into the starting lineup of life. That is the complete phrase. Well, you can't put that on a T-shirt or a pen. So it got shortened to off the bench. So that is that. And the whole mantra still is about performance. How do you get off the bench for where you are in your life to engage in the thing that you said you wanted to do? You said you wanted to be this person, this realtor, this coach, this whatever. At some point in this journey, you have got to make the move into the game. It's into the game. So let me Chris, I'm going to tell you a quick story about how this was even significant. Okay. What happened was I was sophomore, because freshmen didn't play in high school. I was a sophomore at Maple Heights High School, class of 85. What's happening in Maple Heights? And I was in JV, and our JV was doing really well, and it was winter break. So my whole JV unit was the next up and coming thing. Everybody was excited about what we were doing. Oh my God, our varsity was okay. There were some players. So at the Christmas break, coach comes to me and says, Mark, we want you on the bench for this tournament. You may or may not get in, but we need you on the bench just in case. I'm like, straight, I'll be on the bench, like way at the other end of the bench. I'm at the end where you sit and you're almost like off the bleacher. That's where I sat, Chris. I sat at the end of the doggone bench. So time went on, and the guy who I was behind started getting in foul trouble. So I began to get like, I'm about to go in this game. I'm about to get in the game. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready. So sure enough, he gets 3 fouls. We're going to halftime. The assistant coach says, Wiggins, you better get ready because you're about to go in. I'm like, okay, coach, whatever you say, I'm in. Ugh. So second half starts, he ends up fouling out. They look down the bench at me. I lean back and like, what are y'all looking at? Who's next? Well, no, Wiggins, you're up. And so at that moment, a decision had to be made. This is how far back off the bench goes, Chris. Wow. A decision had to be made at that very moment. Either I get up and get in the game, or I let it go by and probably never, ever play again. Or I was going to be too nervous to get up. More like I was too nervous, but to understand the complexity of the moment. But reality was there was a decision. So I get up and get in the game and play and consequently start the rest of my high school career. Wow. That's the origins of getting off the bench. You've prepared. You've gotten ready. You've dreamt about it. You wrote stories about it. You know, all the stuff we did. Here comes your moment, and you're not ready? Are you serious? You gotta go. You gotta go. That's where it all came from, Chris. Right back there.
I love this, Mark, and I'm gonna share a story of mine with you and hear how you would coach someone or empower someone who's had a similar experience as me. So I played football my senior year of high school. Only, right? Wide receiver. And I played hockey and stuff and rode dirt bikes for most of my life, and baseball early on as well. But in football, my senior year, I think we were like 7 games in or something like that. And we're crushing the other team, right? And the coach tells me to get in and go and make some plays, right? And so my best friend is the quarterback, and he throws me like the biggest bomb, right? Like all the way to the end zone. Like I have this thing cherry wrapped with a freaking bow. And I just watch it come down and like fall through my hands, man. Oof. And I am like crushed, right? And I didn't get very much playing time just because like I was not the best player on the team, but you know I got a couple reps in, and right. Like that moment of like showing up and like giving my all, but then falling short, like stayed with me for a lot of years. And I'm curious for someone who has showed up and you know had that like golden moment, and then they fell short, they messed up, they choked, whatever it might be. What's your wisdom for those people?
The wisdom in that, first of all, that's a great story.
Thank you.
Did you ever catch another pass is the first question. I think in those moments, Chris, what we have to take back and go look back is the journey to that moment, recognizing that it's not always going to be 100% successful. Yeah. The mere fact that you could get up on that field, run that pattern, get in position to catch is the win. Yeah. The ball, it's, like taking a shot, it's 50-50. If you never threw it, He threw it in the air to you. There's a 50-50 chance. On this particular time window, it just did not happen. Right. And this that whole winner versus winning situation. You're not a failure because you didn't catch the ball. There's a play that you just dropped the ball. Right. You need more reps, more practice, more confidence, whatever it was. So I would tell you that, you know what, we're going to get back out there and run it again. You're going to catch the next one. Or I'm going to throw you a shorter one, let you get comfortable with that before we throw you the bomb. But don't be flustered, because had you caught the pass, there's still no guarantee that you would have not fumbled the ball out of bounds. Right. Someone would have tackled you. So move that out of your mind, shake it off, get ready for the next play. It's really about the next play. That's what I will coach you on and help you get back out there and now run another play for you, or even in life, it didn't go right, get back out there and try it again.
Beautiful, man. I love it. I love it because that can really apply to anything, any task, any goal, right? Whether it's in sports or, hey, you get up and you speak on stage and you bomb, or, you get up and you have an amazing big deal on the line and it doesn't work out. It falls through. Like, how are you going to respond to that? Are you going to notice what you did well, take that in stride and keep moving forward and focus on what you did well and do that more, get the reps in like you were saying? Or are you going to stay stuck in the past and hold on to shame and guilt and different stuff like that? And it's challenging because especially as kids, like, we're all about wanting to fit in and be understood, and to like have a mistake or something happen in school where you get embarrassed or whatever it might be. That's like our reputation. It's soul crushing. It's like it could be so defeating, but it's like really having people like you around, Mark, help transform a circumstance into a benefit, into just awareness of what's the next step.
Yeah, and it's not, first of all, it's not easy. Everything you said is 100% true. Yeah. So if you look at it from the introspective position, you are already piling on your own self. You're your worst critic, you're your worst enemy, you're not even really your best friend. You're not your own best friend. You're your worst critic, though. And so this happens, and you're piling on, and you're looking for everybody else to jump on board too, to help, but they're piling on too. Yeah, they're not really helping you get over. And so that's why the first book, Permission to Succeed, the only person who can give it is you. If you're not going to believe in what you're talking about, then why should I? Matter of fact, who am I? I don't have a dog in this fight. Why do I get the ability to define your successes? Because if you give me the ability to define your successes, I will then take power and define your failures. I don't think I want anyone telling me when I failed. I already know. But setbacks are just basically what you need to go forth. You have to have these moments to pull out all the knowledge and the wisdom and package it up for the next round. One thing, as a story that I tell in my first book, about the cookie store, where everything didn't end well with the cookie store. It went down with 9/11. But prior to that moment, our second store was not doing well and had to make a decision. I'm probably mid-30s at this point. Had to make a decision on whether to keep this store open or to close it. I'm all distressed and distressed. So I do the one thing I know to do best. I call my daddy. So I call my dad, and I'm talking to my dad. I was like, yo, Dad. He's like, he's not paying attention. Like, dude, what are you doing? He's talking. He goes, what do you want, son? I said, dude, the cookie store is crumbling. I got to shut down. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm starting to cry. And he's like, are you done yet? I'm watching Gunsmoke, dude. For real, hurry up. I was like, what kind of support is this? My dad was the coolest dude on this earth. But he was just like, dude, hurry up. So he gets through all of that. He goes, are you ready? Are you finished now? He goes, yes. And he asked me a series of questions. He goes, did you learn anything? What did you learn in this process? Wow. I go, I learned how to open up a store. I learned how to market a whole new market. I was a few steps away from being kosher certified in this Jewish market. And that was huge. You needed that as a marketing piece. I learned how to do this and that and the other. He goes, okay, so this store didn't work, but you still have another store left, right? Yeah. So did you fail? I said, yes. Doggone it, I failed. He said, no, sir. You've only failed if you didn't take anything out of this lesson. Wow. This moment to apply to future things. He goes, you've done more than your peers by the age of 29 or 30 than they'll do most of their lives. That's crazy. So take that with you and go back and fix the other store so this doesn't happen again. So he goes, now I got to go watch Gunsmoke. I'm like, thanks, Pop. I appreciate you. So the lesson really was about you only fail if you don't take anything from it. Yeah. And what I learned from that allowed me to, back to where the content comes from, when I start talking to business leaders and entrepreneurs, dude, I went from open to 2 closes to a complete close.
Wow.
What you want to talk about? What you want to talk about? The mental side of it, the depression side of it, the mourning side of losing something. It was years before I actually identified that I was actually mourning the loss of a business.
Wow.
We don't talk about that. Entrepreneurs don't talk about that piece because we just want to talk about the check cashing and whatever. But there are many days we didn't know if bills nor taxes were going to get paid.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
So those moments help build where you want to go. And if you don't take those as lessons, then you fall short. You fall short. And it really is about who you are.
That's powerful, man. That's so powerful. And I really appreciate the feedback. And for anyone who's listening who's been knocked down, I think that's a lot of people are afraid of getting knocked down in the first place, or they've been knocked down in the past and they're afraid of getting back up and having it happen again, or even worse this time, but like to stay out of the game, that's the worst travesty of all. Life, you're meant to be on the field. You're meant to be playing. You're meant to be growing. You're meant to be like making mistakes and learning from them so that you can expand your capacity. You can show up as your best self, as your greatest possible self.
It is a struggle. It's an internal struggle. I call it the you versus you battle. Right? I'm battling all of this old stuff, this new stuff here, and I'm not sure. Some days the old me wins. Some days the new me wins. I need more of the new wins than over the old wins. So you've got to do things like silencing the whispers. You got to shut off that noise, internally and external noise. The people who have, again, no real dog in the fight. Why are you looking outwardly for their approval? Support, encouragement, absolutely. High five me, whatever. Pick me up, check on me, see if I'm okay, text me, whatever. When the decision needs to be made, when I like the decision to get off the bench, there was none of my friends around trying to help me. None. Nobody tried to help me. Go, Mark, we got you. They was like, oh, I don't know if he's ready or not. I don't think he should get in. I'm like, that's not helping me right now. So it's the same thing with where you are in your life. You're trying to get back into something. And it feels like that's kind of where I've been in the last few years, is helping people understand the get back off the bench from the knee torn, from, again, torn out of high school. You tore it just a few years ago, then total knee replacement. There's always a comeback from the business to a rebuild, from losing everything, even a whole marriage. I lost a whole marriage behind it, to rebuilding oneself, to even be confident enough to get up and say that you are divorced, or that you failed, or that something happened. That takes a lot. Yeah. And everybody's not willing to be that transparent, not with me, but with yourself. And it's not until you can deal with you, can you make adjustments and go where you want to go boldly, sometimes with fear, still moving forward with fear, because we're going to be scared. Let's be clear. I was scared, but I was not scared enough to sit and not try, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's kind of the message and what I talk about, and hopefully encourage people and the listeners and the viewers out here all over the world, that whatever you're dealing with right now, if there's a thought that you need to go do it, but you're afraid to go do it, I'm encouraging you to get off the bench and go do it. That's right. Get off the bench and go do it. Simple.
That's right. I love it, man. I love it. So that's so powerful. And I want to transition into the success does not need a cosigner and where that came from. Where did that mentality and that philosophy come from?
It actually is the follow-up to Permission. The Permission book was written Permission was written right after we lost the store and all that kind of stuff. And I was actually, I'll share this story. I was arguing with the ex at this point. Well, prior to this point, we're arguing back and forth. I wanted to speak. I wanted to go do things, and we're back and forth. And I just blurted out. And sometimes our utterances are the truth. I just yelled up the steps, "I don't need your permission to be successful." Oh, dope. That's dope. I wrote down the title. I wrote the title down, Chris. I held that title for 3 years before I started writing that first book. Wow. 3 years. And I was like, what does that mean? What does this whole permission process mean? And who am I trying to get it from? So out of Permission, once that book was completed, a few years later, I wrote Success Doesn't Need a Cosigner. And really it's just a follow-up to, I don't need your permission to go. And by the way, I don't need any cosigners either. Because we often worry about who is riding with us when we go this journey. And what we find out is everybody can't fit in the car. You can't. You can't get in the car. I got my seat all the way to the back. I'm 6'6". You are not sitting behind me. So guess what? You don't get to ride. So it's that moment where you recognize that. I believe in the book, I assert the following thing. When we're younger, we ask for permission for everything. We teach our kids, you better ask me first You better ask me first. Can I go outside? Can I get a car? Can I ride the bike? Can I go down the street? And as we get older, Chris, the circle of who we look for to approve what we do gets smaller.
Yeah.
Gets smaller. So your 4 or 5 girlfriends and 5 good dudes who aren't probably much doing anything, you're asking them to say, can you go? And they're like, ugh. And because they don't sign off on it, we wait.
Yeah.
We don't go because they're not with us. And because they're co-signing, that means, here's what happens on a co-sign, Chris. I have, you go get a loan for a car or whatever. The co-signer's job is to be backup in case you don't make the payments.
Yep.
That's the bottom line. You co-sign something, you are behind it, and they're coming to you. Well, if you're going to co-sign my dream and I stop my dream, do you pick it up and go? Do you continue to go on the journey I was on? If so, then it was not my dream. It was your dream.
Wow.
So you don't need anybody to co-sign for you.
Wow.
Encouragement, yes. High five, yes. Yes, pray for me a lot. Absolutely pray for me. But I don't need you. And while it sounds harsh, it sounds counterintuitive the way we were raised. Don't be rude. Don't be selfish. The reality is, if you're not going to do it, no one's going to have as much passion about it as you. When I was running the cookie store and I'm running around as a cookie man before I came to speaker man, people don't know that. I was a cookie man first. I couldn't understand why people weren't excited about my business like I was. I didn't understand it. They thought I was crazy. I just recognized that it wasn't your dream in the first place.
Yeah.
So therefore, you can't give me something that's not yours. So basically, it's still an internal conversation what this book is about, and just walk through some steps and some scenarios and work talking about visualization and whatnot to help people recognize when you give self permission, self goes. That's the way it is.
That's powerful. And it's like really confronting the mass approval that everyone is seeking. Everyone wants to please the people around them. We've been taught to like go to school, get good grades, go get a job, fit in the box, have the nice white picket fence, and like we are living somebody else's dream. And that's why so many people are unhappy. So it's like when people actually create and cultivate their own dream, their own desire, their own burning fire and obsession for whatever's important to them, like it's difficult to break free from that mold that a lot of people have been conditioned with growing up.
And there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of self-reflection. Any personal development person, you're in personal development field, you deal with the past, you deal with self-limiting beliefs and things of that nature because they're so powerful. There's actually a mathematical formula out there that will calculate how many negative affirmations you've dropped on yourself, and you can pick the years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. I found it. Chris, there's actually a formula. I wrote it up in a PowerPoint. I presented to these kids. We're talking about this, about affirmations, and everyone believes that affirmations are always positive. Not true. An affirmation is anything you believe to be true, even if it's false. So imagine in a 12-hour day, you give 4 negative thoughts to yourself, which is way higher than that. I can't believe this. I'm stupid. I don't know why I didn't do that. Those are all negative affirmations, y'all. If you didn't know that you are piling on your own self. You run that thing out over 10 years. I did with some high school kids. So I did for like 10 years. 2 an hour, 4 an hour. It was over 250,000 negative affirmations that they had said about themselves.
Wow.
And that's something you play over and over and over. And then you add what we taught as grown-ups, add onto that, and that number just goes. So if you add 6 or 7 or 8 more per hour, dude, it's staggering. Wow. It's staggering. So you wonder why we struggle with success. We wonder why we struggle with being affirmed or being even positively loved or encouraged, because we have done this to ourselves and don't know how to fix it.
So you said it's the. I know you mentioned you have some visualizations, you have some processes that you take people through in your books. Can you tell us a little bit more about those? How to rebuild that muscle of self-esteem and self-worth and believing in ourselves?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask that question. So I've been on words all day about how words affect us. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I think that's where it is. The science of it, science of words. And I have a word of the year that I do, and I do a big thing on Facebook. And if you follow me, you know that I asked the word. So my word this year is transform. Yeah. Transform, and add the verse in there too, because that's part of it. Yes. And so transform is the word. Last year it was execute. I had trouble finishing things off. So we talk about how words play. And one of the things I teach about in my book is when you find yourself, when you become aware of the issue, I hear myself saying these crazy things, take the action and counter it. So when you say I can't do something, hold on. I'm not able to do it right now. I don't have the skill set. That's totally different than can't. Totally different than can't. Just changing words. We're talking about like words simply with Chick-fil-A and how they treat you when you walk in there. You get my pleasure. Who says my pleasure? But it says, and one of my mentors was talking to me today, and this word stuck out. When you asking for some more to drink, the word we get, can I get a refill? Their thing is, do you want me to refresh you? Refresh? What? Who says refresh? But it changes the whole dynamic. So one of the things I teach people is to notice what you're saying about yourself and then change it. Change it. And what happens by contrast, not by accident, by design, is when you start changing how you speak to yourself, then you start changing how people speak to you.
Yeah.
I've had a boss or two, you come in with some negative stuff. Rephrase that. Huh? You're not bringing that to me. Rephrase that. And so you have to rephrase it. And so when you come around that person, you already know to change what you say. And what you just don't know is they actually help you get better. So when you do those type of things, it releases you out and gets you aware of it because it's this process. Other things that I talk about are definitely reflecting and remembering stuff in the past and then like leaving it there. What is a lesson that comes out of the past? Can we take that forward to what we're doing now? Stop pressing the rewind button. Yeah, we need to study history so we don't repeat it. When you go back into history and you replace something, to get the full effect, you got to bring up all the emotions, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you're drained by telling the story that happened 25 years ago. Don't nobody remember but you. So you're holding on to that and bringing it forward. We got to stop doing that. So those are some things I do, Chris, in helping people to gain their own permission and get where they want to go.
I love it, man. I love it. And when you're speaking to schools, what's like your biggest focus, your biggest intention or outcome that you're there to serve them with?
Youth are special people. My biggest intention when I'm talking to young people really is to stop limiting themselves. Everybody else can see that you have, and this is also double negative, that thing I like talking about a lot is potential. Everybody can see that you have potential, but you. And we want to talk about asserting and trying and putting yourself out there while you're young, because once you've developed that habit, you'll always do it. And so kids are funny. If you're listening to them and you're transparent with them, they will tell you and believe you. I learned that early on, my early speaking at the local high schools, and the toughest crowd ever. It is not older people. It's not highly intelligent people. It's high school freshmen. I don't care where you go. High school freshmen sit there and look at you like, but they're actually paying attention. So you have to connect with them, but you only can do that by being real and transparent and not condescending. And I understand you, and I believe in you, encourage you. And when you can get them going, nothing better than watching a kid step over and move on to something. The light comes on, and you walk out of there. So I try to get them to hear some positive about them and let them understand, you know what, you're good. Just let yourself go. Let yourself go. And then I tell grown people, let yourself go. I tell them, we struggle with that. If you really unleash yourself, it's kind of a scary thought. Back to the X-Men. It's really a scary thought that you could actually do this with your mind. So that's when I'm talking to kids and you just relate to them where they are. I think I'll contribute that a lot to my success. Humor is my weapon. You know, my height and my smile is my other one. And to go in and talk about myself and say, you know, I messed this up or I did this. And they go, most grown-ups don't ever admit that they're wrong, that they made a mistake. I said, dude, I don't have all afternoon for all the mistakes I've made. None. Just recognize that you don't have to make the same ones.
That's powerful. And I love how you said that kids recognize most grown-ups are not willing to admit where they've made mistakes. So if you can get on their level saying, hey, I know what it's like to not be perfect. I know what it's like to be hurting, to be in pain, to be, suffering, and know that you're not alone, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through. I think that's the big thing, is just building the bridge towards them, saying, hey, this is what I've been through. Take the lessons from it, take it or leave it. I'm not attached to either way, but know that you can live a better life. You can choose something else, a different perspective if you step up to the plate.
Absolutely. That's a part of it. I know there's a lot of great teachers out there who touch lives and change lives. We've all been touched and affected by teachers. If you're watching and you're a teacher, I thank you for what you do. And there's a lot of us out there who are just destroying folks, just like with coaches. There's a lot of coaches out there destroying kids' confidence, and it's saddening. I don't like it. So you have to counter it with the positive. Extra positive, the big hugs, the high fives, the acknowledgments. If you tell a kid that you see them, as kids, I see you. No, I see you.
Yeah,
I see you right now. And they don't know. They're like, well, really? Someone actually believed in me. Whatever. Yeah, man, high five. Let's go get it. Whatever. It means a lot. It means a lot. And here's the weird part: we as grown folks need the same thing. Everybody wants a word of encouragement. Everybody wants a pat on the back. I mean, in presentations, I'll ask this question, by show of hands, how many of you have actually received positive feedback from your job this week? I don't care what the room is. It's always off 10, 15, 20. I said, see, you haven't received a positive word at all. You're expected to perform, do your job. You don't get thanks for the job we hired you for. But I disagree. I think you do need to thank me for the job that I'm required to do.
Yeah.
Because it matters. It matters. And when you get to that point that you don't get any words, you don't learn how to give any words. You don't know how to give any compassion to anyone else. So because that's what you've been taught, that mentality thing. And so you have to break that cycle. So with the kids, you've got to go in and tell them, I see you, I appreciate you, high five it. What y'all think about this? I'm like, Mr. Wiggins, did you really put that on there? Dude, I thought it would work. I don't know why this doesn't work. It looked good in the mirror. That's all I got to say. And they understand that because they struggle with looks and feeling and being accepted, all that kind of stuff, all of it.
Yeah. And I love what you said about appreciation, because that's all human beings. I think it's the appreciation and acknowledgement goes farther than any monetary reward. They showed a study that the more people got paid, the less they performed. The higher their bonus, or the higher their the thing that was at stake money wise, the less likely they were to perform. But the more praise and acknowledgement and appreciation that they got, the better their performance.
If you look at some of the best companies that are listed as the best companies to work at, money is decently, which is great, but it's not what keeps people there. No. It's the slides, the ice cream machine, the bougie ball in the middle of the court. There's a reason. There's a reason. And go, hey, don't worry about a tie. Come in with khakis and shirt and whatever. That's what people, they want to feel like they're part of something and be recognized and to be appreciated. You learn how to make people feel appreciated and loved. Then you got something. People want to work for you. People want to be around you. They'll listen to you. They'll listen to your counsel is what they'll do. Yeah.
Man, that's powerful. So as far as, going from running the businesses, the cookie, right, the cookie shop, to speaking, what would you say are the biggest transformations that you had to grow through with going from like a brick and mortar or, that style of business to speaking as your business, as your vehicle?
Recognizing probably that you become the product. You become the product. I made cookies from scratch. They were dope, by the way. They were just awesomely good. That was the thing. So I'm giving you something. Yeah. Recognizing now that I have to be the product, that I'm coming up, that on the stage, that I'm good enough for the next 35, 45, 90 minutes, whatever you got me here for, that I am it. And in so doing so, I have to prepare to make sure that I'm ready to go. That's one of the bigger areas, is making sure that I prepare. It actually harkens back to sports. Like I told you when I started, everything is sports. In Success Doesn't Need a Cosigner, I talk about moving without the ball. The concept of moving without the ball, which is really code for preparation, right? What are you doing to get ready to go speak, deliver, whatever you're doing. How much you practice, how many reps do you research? Do you have your gestures together? Do you have your clothes set together? Where are you when you step on that stage, when all eyes are on you? Are you ready to go?
Wow.
That happens weeks before, days before I get to wherever I'm going. That was the biggest transition, that I had to go up and deliver and be authentically me. And that wasn't always easy, to be authentically myself, because it required me to be this way all the time. People are like, you have a different persona on the stage and you are in person. I try not to be. What you get right now is pretty much how I am all day long.
Yeah.
A little more intense on the stage because it's game time, Chris. It's game time. A little more intense. You got to raise the level a bit. But I'm not on stage, though. This is pretty much how I am. And the transition was just understanding that I am the commodity. I am the product. I am the brand. And you've got to make sure the brand and the product and the content and the delivery is there. It's there, because they'll let you know. They'll let you know if it's not there.
Yeah. A lot of people in our audience are definitely wanting to get more speaking gigs. Where do you think that they're falling short in preparing or getting booked on speaking gigs? Where do you think people get stuck with that?
It is probably more along the lines of your previous guest talking about the marketing side. We've all been to situation. I'm the worst, by the way. I'll say if I'm not speaking, I'm critiquing. And I know people are criticizing me, and I'm not trying to be critical because I think I'm better than you. That's my own personal discussion. But I'm watching for skills and whatnot. And you get to these high places and recognize it. Dude, how did you get on the stage? For real. What are you even talking about? It was their marketing dollars were better than yours. If you're not in a place where your message is wanted, then you can't get it done. It even comes down to selling product. If I'm not in a market where gift givers are, then I'm not really selling any cookies, because it's a gift. So you need to be in the marketplace where your message needs to be heard. Getting out there, doing things for free. People say, oh, don't do free. Yeah, do free. But when you do free, you have to have something on the backside of free. I say go speak in schools. I say go speak to them, because those parents, those teachers are connected to something else. Chris, one thing I learned early on when I was at monster.com and speaking for Make an Account was that every single time you get up is an audition for the next thing. Wow. It's the next thing. Every time I played a game, it was an audition for a recruiter to get me to go to college. You know, so you move that out of your mind and just go, I'm gonna give my best every single time. You don't have to worry about whether or not they're gonna see you. Just know that you gotta give your best every single time. So for people who are trying to speak, make sure your message is solid. If you're working with me, I take you through what I call my core program. It's creation, organization, research, and elaboration. Taking you from a spot where you don't have a message to a place where it's the core message that you have, because that's the base of your speech. So no matter where you go, no matter who you're talking to, we can wrap it with the story, we can change the story, but eventually at some point in time, Chris, I'm getting back to, how do I get off the bench? That is the platform. So you have to be clear on your platform, find your place that is looking for your message, and then go attack that market. Whether you speak for free, whether you sit on a panel, whether you go to a conference and offer up your services in that conference, and and do a workshop, a training. Those are the kind of places that get you exposure to get out and speak. So if you're not getting booked, I say look at those areas of technical attack. And while you're waiting for those things to come out, move without the ball. Record yourself, get in the mirror, do lives, bring people on. Don't worry, no one's looking besides your 4,000 friends. They're not even looking either. So just do it. Just go ahead and put it out there. No one cares. Oh, look at, they're doing a good job. So, and you get more confident with it. And you go and people want to hire you based on how you put out there, how you put it out there.
Yeah, you know what's awesome is like you get noticed when you go up, you show up, and there's a recruiter, there is someone in the audience who can get you booked on that next gig, whatever it might be. But I'm sure you found this with your podcast too. I think you were telling me about it in the pre-interview call, how you put out the podcast and you don't even know who's listening. You put out the video, the content, the post, and you don't know who's watching, who's reading it. And those people come up to you, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years from now, and they're like, I've been listening to your stuff, I've been reading it, I love it. It's like, what?
it's the craziest thing, because you're sitting in your own little space. I'm in my studio and I'm throwing up this content, I'm throwing it out there, and I like I said, I went to frat meeting at Kappa Psi. What's up? I go to my meeting and these are grown men. Hey, there's no dog on Facebook Live. Bruh, I appreciate you, man. You're talking some good stuff. You watch the show? Oh my God, you watch? Yeah, but I don't ever say anything though. Dude, say something. This is all about, you gotta say something. So you're right. It's funny how when you put a message out there, there's only a couple things we can do in this world, I believe. You can sow, you can cultivate, or you can reap. That's biblical. Look it up, you know it's to be true. You're sowing out there, you're just throwing out your content, you're pouring your heart out there, you're throwing it out there. Either you're landing on someone, you're encouraging someone, or you might be the last thing that person needs to get over the hump. We just never know. Yeah. So that's what this is about, is you keep putting it out there, the downloads will come, the content will come. Out of that, this latest article that came out from the Undefeated, which is the ESPN internet property. It came about because someone contacted somebody a speech I did in Detroit, followed me on Facebook, followed me on the podcast, reaches in and says, hey, I want to talk to you. I was like, Undefeated? Are you serious right now? They just released the article, just came out. If you go to my Facebook page, it's there.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
And everybody's reading them. And it's a huge article. It's not a short article. It's like my life. It's a long article. And it's out there on Undefeated. So you just don't know where people are coming from. Had I not posted that day, or had I not delivered that day, so the best way to handle it is just be consistent as possible.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, but be as consistent as possible with it, because you just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and also there's I think T. Harv Eker says how you do one thing is how you do everything, or how you do anything is how you do everything. And every live, every post, everything that we do, it's like have the intention that like this is going to transform the game. This is going to transform someone's life. It's going to open up new opportunities for me. So I'm going to do my absolute best and put my best foot forward. So I think it's important to have that duality of not taking ourselves so seriously and just like do the dang thing, and also showing up with purpose and with intent that, hey, this could be the one piece of content that transforms everything. So let's put it all on the line,
It's all about that. I think if you just, I marvel at what you're doing. This movement is not a show. It's not a piece of thing. It is a movement. If you rocking every Wednesday for the past 2 years, bro, it's a movement. And the consistency, be able to go 12 hours, I don't know how you piece it together, but that consistency of doing it draws people in. And we all strive to be, everybody can be better at what we do. I can be better at being more consistent with content or whatever. But you know what? Even when the moments where I'm not consistent, the trick is not to stay there and beat yourself up. What you need to do is look back and say, well, consistent. I'm going to try a little harder next time and keep it going. You're only judging by yourself. No one else is judging. No one cares. Nobody cares. Newsflash. Nobody cares that you missed a week. Nobody cares. They want to know, are you coming back or not? And when are you back? And let us know when you're back. That's kind of how it is. I think we get in our own heads and get in our own space and project out stuff that's not even real. Yeah. And try to live up to those standards. So it's not, just keep pressing. I love what you're doing. Love it.
Thank you, man. So Mark, how about you, man? What do you see this year? What are some big moves that you're making that we can stay tuned with and be excited about? Yeah.
Thanks for that. What's coming up is I took the podcast and did lives. I'm moving to a live event where you are in the room, in the space, and there's speakers on the stage. It's a motivational night. It's a networking night. It's interview night. It's a talk show. Back in the day, people said, I like Arsenio. Anyway, so I had this talk show thing. So we do this called Off the Bench Live, and it usually happens around my birthday, and I do some in between. And I bring emerging speakers to the stage, trying to get them some reps, because everybody did get a stage when I started off. I didn't have a stage all the time. Give them some reps. They talk about their motivational message. They work with me, and then we interview afterwards. I love the interview portion because it allows us, the listener, to hear a little bit more about the speaker. You can attest, when we finish speaking, it's off the stage, where's my check and my jelly beans, I'm out of here because I got to go. Well, now you're finished. I'm going to sit down, but what did you really mean about this? And I'm interviewing like we interview here, just asking some more questions, 6-7 minutes. And it just draws more people into the persona of who they really are and why they speak about what they speak about. So we have this event coming up. It's supposed to be end of March, early April here in the Virginia area, but May 18th in Cleveland, Ohio. War All Things Cleveland. Let's go. I'm from Ohio. I'm doing the Off the Bench Live May 18th. This should be a big event in Cleveland. You go to my Facebook page and catch all the information there. And off the live, I will probably do some more smaller events, get more people on, because more and more clients are coming on with the intent of getting a message together. getting in the core program. So we put them in the core program, and I want to put them somewhere, like we have a target. You know, if we get into these coaching programs and we don't sometimes have somewhere to go with it, right, we'll just be there. I'm prepping you for the game, Chris. That's what I'm doing. I'm prepping you for the game. So we'll get you to that stage, and then we'll talk about what's next. That's Off the Bench Live. The podcast is still popping, and we got great interviews coming up for the rest of 2019.
That's so awesome, man. I love how you're bringing it together, bringing people together. Also, people who you're training and you're speaking can come and, you know, have this group, this community, and you keep doing it and you keep growing it. And like more and more people will come and want to grow themselves, and they're inspired by you. They're inspired by the growth of your clients and your team and the people who are stepping up. And I think it's just so awesome, the model that you're doing, man. That's really cool. I appreciate it.
Yeah, one of I think the biggest thing I saw at my 50th, when I ran it off my 50th and unleashed the book, I stepped back, and I believe at that moment it was God revealed to me, this is how I want this to go.
Wow.
I was looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it was no longer, the whole event was really not about my birthday. I'm giving out stuff. I'm giving people, well, bro, don't worry about me. My mom was there. And so that's like, you know what? It really is about the give. What can I give and help you? With Zig say, you help others get what they want as quick as they can, so you can do what you want as long as you can. The quicker I help you get to that stage helps me get to go do what I want to do. But if you've got the gift and the talent and the time, then you should give. And so the Off the Bench Live is that give to the speakers is really not necessarily about Mark speaking. I got other events coming with just me. I can be just me, but this is about other people. And you're bringing their tribes in, you're cross-pollinating, everybody exposing to them to whatever. There's enough out there, so I don't have to worry about not sharing my audience. Please, have at them. Go get them. Because if I'm not moving them, they need something else, or they need additional stuff to go with it. Matter of fact, we all work together. We all need different levels of motivation. Everybody needs what you have, Chris. The young lady who was on before us, we all need something. And so we just bring it all together in hopes that everybody can move off the bench when it's time for them to get in the game.
That's right. That's right, Mark. I love it. I love it, man. Well, I so appreciate what you're doing, brother, and I'm super proud of you. How do people stay connected with you? They want to know how to continue their journey, how to keep following, keep being inspired and motivated. How do they do that, Mark?
Thank you so much. First of all, if you're on the book, SpeakerMan87 will get you to my page where I am there. If you're on Instagram, where, hey, what's up, Instagram at this moment? I'm OTB Live, Off the Bench Live. You can hit me there. And matter of fact, if you go there, I got a gift for you. Hit the link. I'm going to give you a free chapter from my book, Success Doesn't Need a Cosigner. Just go ahead and do that. If you hit me on Facebook and DM me, say, Mark, I saw you tonight. You were on fire. Chris was dope. Let me know, and I'll send you the down link to that. You can go get the chapter of this book. That's my gift out. Again, it's about giving. So go get motivated. Get off the bench. That's the best way to find me. And SpeakerMan87 on YouTube, Twitter, yada, yada, yada. SpeakerMan87.
Awesome. I love it, Mark. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, definitely stay connected with Off the Bench and get your butt into the game. It's game time. Let's go.
All right,
Mark,
Chris,
I appreciate
thank you, man. Good luck.